We are back at Performance Auto in Burlington, Wyoming, and we're gonna build a Hemi Belvedere in the Boneyard.
I've never been here. I've never seen this car. The thing is almost like brand new.
Yeah, it really is. And so that one over there, they got another Belvedere since the last time I was here. This junkyard, or actually like personal collection, is basically a Mopar specialist. They have a whole bunch of project vehicles here. That's what this one was. It's a 69 Plymouth Belvedere, no engine, no trans, and I brought parts, which I'll fill you in on, to make this thing great. And I'm gonna need both these guys' help because we've got 5 days and we're gonna replace every nut and bolt in the whole drivetrain. Fortunately, they cleared the shop for us, so you wanna help me push it in?
Ah, it's my favorite thing to do. Ah, this thing rolls great.
And I think Bradburger must be doing most of the pushing.
I'm sure everybody had a life vest too.
Oh, you aimed it almost perfectly.
Who, what, when, where, why? Who? Steve Dulcich. So Dulcich is like one of my key enablers, and he's been grinding me to get a 68 or 69 Roadrunner to match his Rec Runner. Thing is, they were like 20 grand and such. So when Finnegan and I were on a road trip in the General Mayhem and stopped here at Performance Auto in Wyoming, I found what I needed. We're buying this one.
This has great paint on it.
Totally have this. Which brings us to the what? This is a 1969 Plymouth Belvedere. This car's original 318 car with a 3 on the tree, so it was a stick. The thing is, it was so much cheaper than a Roadrunner, but it's the same car. You may not be aware that a Roadrunner is essentially just a high-performance Belvedere. Plymouth back then took their cheapest, lowest end, lightest weight, no frills car, and they added bigger engines, bigger brakes, bigger torsion bars, sway bars, and some stickers and stripes and garbage, and called them a Roadrunner, and it was a huge hit. The 1969 Roadrunner was the Motor Trend Car of the Year. I know you're dying to know, I paid $7,000 for this thing. Then the when, right now. The why, okay. I've been a Mopar guy probably since day one, since I was a teenager. And in more recent years, I've been fairly critical of the 426 Hemi. I think they're overpriced, I think they're super heavy, I think they don't make the torque that a wedge could, so I'm not a huge fan. But at the same time, the Mopar stroke in me has always wanted some kind of Hemi car that I could just turn the key and drive like it was nothing. And so that's what this car is gonna be. So recall that we had built the Hemi Gremmy together a long time ago, and we installed a 426 Hemi iron head motor, but then we broke a rocker arm on the Gremlin and had to abandon a road trip.
That side.
So that's when Finnegan and friends swiped the thing, brought it over to his place, built a new Hemi for it. A new Hemi that I had actually given him in trade when we were first building the Blasphemy 55 Chevy. And then that engine ended up getting fragged, and it was sitting in his place. He had Bostic Racing engines go through it. It makes 700 horsepower. It now lives in the Hemi Gremmy, which left me with the spare 426 kicking around. And that's why we're able to have that used Hemi ready to stab in this car. So in the next 5 days, we have to install a Hemi, a used A833 4-speed that I got from here at the yard, and a used Dana 60 that I bought from another friend. I think I thought of every possible part that we could use, because right here, right now, we are an hour from any auto parts store. So I got to build it with all the parts that I thought of, and of course, probably some scraps from this Mopar junkyard.
Mike, you want to help me get the hood off?
Oh yeah, right when you are, sir.
Okay. Just hold up the front a little bit. Oh wow, we just handled that like nothing.
It's pretty light too.
Yeah. One of the things I want to do is modify the steering column. Now this is a column shift car, so it has these arms here which come off the bottom of the column and activate the transmission shifter, and they're just in the way when we're going to put that big Hemi in there. So I'm going to cut those off. It actually came out pretty good.
Steve, can you tighten this around? There we go. Stop. That's it.
Okay.
Yep. Mint.
Oh, that doesn't go to a main cap. What does that go to?
There's a main cap right here. There's an angle bracket,
Oh.
but we're not using it. I'm changing the oil pan because I've learned my lesson so many times about like thrashing on dirt and corners without a road race pan. Okay. I think that's it, right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're gonna go.
But I'm gonna need some pipe plugs. All right, oil pump next. There we go.
What I have to do is install this. This is the pilot bushing. It goes in the end of the crankshaft here, and then the transmission input shaft pilot rides right on that. Now, did you hear that change in tone, that dull thud? That's because it bottomed on the end of the crankshaft. Boom, you know, that bushing is perfectly flush.
The 426 Hemi uses a different motor mount than the other big block V8s in the Chrysler line. The good news is that the K-member in the car is the same, be it a 318 or a big block. The thing is, the Hemi won't bolt to the big block K-member unless you've got this kit right here from Schumacher Creative Services. It is an adapter mount that allows the Hemi 3-bolt pattern to go onto that K-member. A normal 440 or 383 would have like cast-in ears that come off here. This has this instead. Now, the other thing you need to know about the Hemi is these 3 bolts right here are not blind. They go all the way through to the crankcase, so they will leak oil. So you do need to seal them a little bit.
All right, I hear good things happening.
It's the sound of a beer being cracked open, or what are we talking about here? What kind of good things? And I know we're gonna break this in properly for 200 or 300 miles before the first burnout or, you know, drag race. So I'm gonna go the extra mile and wipe my handprints off of this. 80 to 120 grit surface finish, driving 750 miles on the highway. We don't need that kind of negativity here on Roadkill, so we're just gonna send it.
A little higher?
A little higher. You know, we don't have our dowels in the back of this clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a good catch.